Dipti is here as well for a look at the newspapers. And Dipti, you're starting with the UN. Much awaited report from them on global biodiversity.
That's right. That report is expected to come out sometime this Monday afternoon, and it's going to sound the alarm, if you like, on how bad off the environment is right now. Even if the report can't actually say it, experts say humanity is in the middle of a sixth wave of extinction, this time human-caused extinction. The 5 major threats to biodiversity: the conversion of forests and grasslands into farms, overfishing, climate change, pollution, and spreading infectious, invasive species. The verdict is that basically nature is in major trouble. 1 million species of plants and animals are expected to become extinct, some of them in the next decade or decades to come. The report says it's not too late to change our ways, in particular the way we grow food, the way that we produce energy, dispose of water, and deal with climate change, but we have to do something now. In fact, it's even prompted a handful of people, including famed primatologist Jane Goodall and French actress Marion Cotillard, scientists, CEOs, and UN reps to also sign the statement published in Le Monde today, urging governments and world leaders to do something before it's too late.
I suspect that's a story we'll be talking about a lot over the next 24 hours or so here on France 24. Another story we'll also be talking about: South Africa is heading to the polls for national elections this Wednesday. The incumbent President Cyril Ramaphosa has made rather a last-minute plea, hasn't he, to voters?
That's right. At a Sunday rally to supporters, Cyril Ramaphosa, the head of the ANC party that was founded by Nelson Mandela, has begged voters for another chance. As you see from the Sowetan today, we are sorry, but please vote us back. He's promising more jobs, economic growth, and a drive against corruption if elected or re-elected, if elected in Wednesday's vote, despite the fact that he and the party have been implicated in corruption scandals almost on a weekly basis. It's clear what the Sowetan's cartoonist Yellow thinks all the candidates' promises, seen here with Ramaphosa, but behind him Mumusi Maiman from the Democratic Alliance and Julius Malema from the Economic Freedom Fighters, or EFF. All of them are juggling electoral promises, but these are nothing but circus tricks designed to trick voters or entertain voters, but there's not much substance behind these promises. The Afrikaans paper Beeld goes with this headline: "Talking's over." Talking's finished. Now it's over to the voters to decide. And you have a picture of those 3 presidential candidates wrapping up their last rallies.
Talking South Africa, so of course the legacy of apartheid very much weighing on this election, Dipti.
That's right. And there's an interesting piece from the Times that talks about how land is a really big issue in this upcoming election. The ANC has ruled South Africa, or been in power for 25 years, ever since Mandela first cast his vote. Land is a contentious issue because land remains largely in the hands of white South Africans, despite us being in a post-apartheid era. Ironically, in this article, they say that white voters are actually turning to the ANC party and Ramaphosa. They're enticed, for instance, by his investment-friendly instincts and anti-corruption platform. On the flip side, black voters are turning away from the party because the government, or they see the government as not having done enough for them in terms of employment, in terms of pulling them out of poverty. The ANC will win a majority, that's what The Guardian says, but the question is by how much? And in fact, the paper today is advocating for Ramaphosa to get a strong win so he can start to turn the country's downslide around.
Finally, from Dipti, we're going to talk about Queen on the programme. Which Queen? Well, both Queens. In fact, Freddie Mercury's band Queen is actually, I really can't believe this, richer than the actual Queen. This is according to a new rich list.
That's right, and you can actually thank Bohemian Rhapsody, the film, for that. This list was revealed by the Times this weekend, showing that Queen, the band, is richer than Queen, the Queen, thanks to the hit biopic Bohemian Rhapsody that earned the group $445 million worldwide. Add to this, they get royalties from streaming and record sales, so they're pretty rich in comparison to the actual Queen, who only only earned, I say that lightly. She only earned a meager £370 million last year, but not from singing, clearly.
No. Well, maybe she sings very well.
Maybe she does.
Yeah.
But let's end on this great, speaking of poverty, let's end on this great new initiative in the US. It's called, well, I call it Laundromat Literacy. It's a project actually sponsored by the Clinton Foundation. So they've started installing family-friendly literacy spaces in laundromats across New York and Chicago so that kids can read and color while their parents do the washing. In the US, the literacy gap is pronounced, especially among low-income kids. Low-income families are more likely to use these public laundromats. So they've kind of found a way for kids to be occupied, but also learn to read at the same time, especially from families who don't own a lot of books. Kids don't read, and when they enter school, they're lagging behind. They're actually planning to roll out 600 of these laundromat literacy spaces by next year.
Great idea. It's more interesting than reading the washing instructions anyway.
That's right. Or sitting there watching that machine turn around.
Yeah, just going like that, non-stop, round and round, round and round. Thank you, Dipti, with the papers for you on France 24. Next up, the programme.